Now, back to Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons.
To our second of our session series before we start our episode 1 of our actual plays next week. This week then we're going to meet the second half of our adventuring parties, and as last week I'm going to be catching up with one half of their players. By what do I mean by that? Well, each character is going to be played by 2 players, and each of those players will be playing in 2 different actual plays. So we've got our Shattered Realm, which is our European players, and our Darkest Timeline, which is our American players. And that American player's Darkest Timeline is going to be DM'd by the amazing Kyle from Playnerd Allies, whilst I will be DMing the Shattered Realm. So I'm catching up with Chloe, who's playing Carrie, aka Carrot Kisses, their other half being Chelsea, and then I will be catching up with Luke, who's going to be playing Hummel, their other half being Mosey. So, in about 5 seconds' time, you will see me talking to Chloe. Until then, I hope you enjoy the show, and I might catch you at the end. If not, see you next week for episode 1, where we have our guest DM, the DM Dick Dynamite from the Backwater Bastards, doing some DMing for our first episode. Why does that happen? Where does he take us on? Let's just say it involves beholders and discos. Oh, yes. Anyway, I will see you next week. Enjoy my chats with Chloe and Luke. Oh, I'm just remembering what happens in them. Chloe's is great fun. Luke's is conflict filled. It's going to be fucking fantastic. Alright, see you then next week. Take care. Bye. Hello everyone. So you will have already seen us talk to, I'm going to forget their names already because it's been like weeks. It was Chris and Will talking about Guillermo and Frankie and how their backstory makes sense in this greater weird Dragon's Duel world. I am now alone because I tried to get everyone together, but it's Christmas and trying to organise everyone is difficult, so it's just me and Chloe talking about Carrie, aka yes. Carrot Kisses. One of the
how dare you acknowledge her full name.
I'm sorry, it's on the screen right now. I'm sorry, it's there. On the actual, just for later, just to let you know, on the actual play overlay, I've only put Carrie down, okay, just so that you can keep that to yourself. But I felt like it probably will come up as part of your backstory. So
definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be talking about Carrie and how Carrie, like the life of Carrie, the life, not the Sex and the City program. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about your character and how they fit in the wider world, how they fit in the group, how they maybe end up where they are. And then after I speak to you, Chloe, I'm going to be speaking to Luke about Hummel after this. So this is like a super episode, Chloe. So you might not. We're doing like on Saturday when this goes out. When this is on the Saturday, hopefully it goes out that day. There's gonna be. I do like a brief introduction to what the story was in the previous seasons, just like a recap of all the stuff we've done. It's only 7 episodes. You'd think that would be easy, but it's not. And then
a lot of stuff happens in 7 episodes.
It really can. Really, a lot can. Particularly when they're like all one shots, where I've tried to make it ridiculously complicated for my own benefit. And then as I said, I talked to Will and Chris together about their 2 characters. So now we're going to talk about yours. So Carrie, do you want to start off by just introducing yourself, Chloe? Anyway, yourself, not Carrie.
Yeah.
And where we might know you from, and what you do, and all the magical stuff that you make on the internet.
Yeah, I'm Chloe, or Chloe with the Flow, all over the internet. Literally all over the internet now. It's like, when I started, I was like, I'm on Twitter, and now I'm like, everywhere. I am an actor and singer, and I do a whole ton of stuff. I stream on Twitch 3 times a week, and I what else do I do? I am on Deck of Many Aces, which is a D&D actual play podcast made with actual asexuals and aromantics, which is a whole lot of fun. And yeah, that's pretty much me.
Oh yeah, just acting, singing, actual playing, and Twitch
I write
streaming.
music too.
Oh, and I write
That's
music.
the thing.
Okay. Oh my gosh, we could have a Dragon's Duel band.
We could have a Dragon's Duel
I
band.
got the drums. I got my
Yeah.
guitar right here.
I got a guitar.
There we go. We got. Well, you know what? When all the lockdowns and stuff, we should do like a Dragon's Duel live, but also with music, because you can sing.
Yes.
You said.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Dragon's Duel, the Dragon's Duelers, or the Githfits, or whatever our band name we could be. Yeah. Perfect.
So many options.
Carrie and the Carrot Kisses. How about that? That
That's
is a great
confusing,
band name, right?
But
Come
a
on.
great band name.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, anyone who hasn't listened to or seen anything that Chloe does, you should definitely go check out. If you'd like, you normally play a lot of JRPGs on your
Yeah,
Twitch,
I
as well
do
as...
because I do 3 times a week. I kind of have 3 different like
Oh, that's it, yeah.
genres. So I do like RPGs, and then I do like a sort of chill, cozy games, and then I do like Chaos Friday,
Which could be anything.
which
Yeah.
could be anything at all.
Yeah, I saw you doing The Sims the other day, and I've not played that game in so long, but it just kind of brought back all those memories of just building
Yeah.
houses and trying to
It's
make
one
my
of
life
those.
work in Sims.
It's one of those games where I'm like, I don't play it for months, and then I will play it non-stop for like a couple weeks.
It's quite addictive. It is, because
Yes.
it's like a life as well. And the other one is I want to say I've forgotten the complete name with Tom Nook. I can remember Tom Nook.
Oh yeah, Animal Crossing. Yeah.
There you go. Yes, which is another easily addicting game, because it's like, this is so chill, and I'm achieving things.
Yeah. But also it pressures you to play it every day, so it's like
Yes.
every day you got to play it for an hour, and then it's like, where did all the time go?
Yeah. I know. I got rid of my Switch because it was taking over my life too much. So it went.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, so that's great. So everyone should check out at Chloe with the Flow. It's under your name right now, so you can see it. People can see where that is, so you can always follow and like and subscribe and all that stuff.
All things.
But we're going to be talking about Carrie, your character that you made on Dragon's Duel.
Yes.
How was that? How did you find it? Did you enjoy your time on Dragon's Duel?
Yeah, it was
Question
so
mark?
much fun. It was so much fun.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It was really good because I was midway through my stage combat course at the time, and I was exhausted, but it was so fun and engaging and stuff that I was it was quite late, and I was I'm still wide awake.
Oh yeah,
which was fun the next morning, but the night before it was great.
Yeah, it sort of does that to you, which is a bit of annoying. Yeah, after I record an episode, I just watch some TV for an hour, because it's I can't just go to bed. Do you know what I mean? Because that's not going to work. Because I'm all got all these ideas. I've been trying to manage all this stream. I can't just switch off from that. So I just watch some Hawkeye or something like that, which is very good, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah. So Carrie, then you made Carrie with Chelsea, who's your other half on this. You're sort of you're the other part of the psyche you carry. However that manifests, we'll find out. I think I've given some hint. I think a lot of people know pretty much, but I'm pretending people don't know the whole reason. And yeah, you got a chaotic neutral centaur. Who's you've made a Battlesmith Artificer out of.
I have.
You rolled Artificer, yeah. So, where to start with Carrie? Should we start, I guess, from the beginning, really?
Yeah.
Did you use those cards I gave you? That was the question I was going to...
Yeah,
Oh, you did? Okay, cool.
we talked through them, and I think we kind of, with the exception of 1 or 2, had a way to fit them all together, but then we didn't really like it, so we kind of took one of the elements out, and then kind of... So we have used the cards, we just haven't used them all.
Alright, I'm going to get them up on my phone now so I know... Oh, which one was you? Was it Discovery? It wasn't the Hard Time one. Was it Applied?
No.
The one that had Applied, Destitute,
we
and
had Abandoned and Stranger.
Discovery, Abandoned, Stranger,
That's the
Cataclysm, and Values. Cool. Yeah, I just want to make sure I had the right ones up. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I didn't actually... It's in the Discord, whose is whose, but I've just got them as photos on my phone, so I don't know whose is whose. Okay, cool. So you did use them. That's good. They're good fun. I should just say who they are again. Up here, Better Backstories. Thank you, Jay, who gave them to me for free. So thank you. So it's very kind of you. They're very good. People should try them if you need help making any backstories. But yes, okay. So how do you want to start talking about Carrie? Like, what was your initial? Like, I'm a centaur. You had something beforehand as well, didn't you? Which is the name.
Well. Because we didn't really know what we kind of needed to have, and then we were told like, oh, you need a name, and we were kind of like, well, how do we name a character that doesn't exist yet? Yes. So we were like, had a sort of chat, and we were talking about just like how we could possibly name it or what we would base it on, and I don't know how we got onto it, but we got onto the topic of My Little Pony. So I went onto My Little Pony like a name generator, and I read out the top one, and Chelsea misheard it as Carrot Kisses, and we went, well, that's the name.
That's the name.
And we kind of decided
how that happened, like how serendipitous or whatever that is.
Yeah, I know.
That you chose, like, this is there was no fudging of rolls. Like, honestly, you just rolled and you ended up with the Centaur when you came up with your name from My Little Pony. I
know.
It's insane. What was
it's
the
incredible.
actual name then, if it wasn't Carrot Kisses?
I think it was Caramel Kisses.
Oh, Caramel.
But because
Kisses.
Like in Britain we say caramel, and then in America they say like caramel or something.
Caramel,
so
yeah, okay.
she didn't really hear me.
Basically, the English version of
fine.
caramel is carrots anyway. You know, we don't get the sort of old, outdated version of England not having any good food sort of idea. But yeah, okay. So, well, I mean, it's a great name, and it perfectly fits because you rolled a Centaur, and so
yeah, we kind of like had decided previously. We were like, oh, we can explain this by saying, oh, she was named after a horse, and then she turned out to be a horse, and we were like, fantastic.
That is great. So, with the parentage of Carrie, are we assuming that their parents aren't centaurs, or are centaurs?
So, because we had the like abandoned card, and there was also, I think, Cataclysm, which was like something happened to your family or whatever.
Yeah.
So we kind of decided she does have centaur parents, but that they have mysteriously disappeared, and was then raised by.
That's all good DM fodder. That is. Perfect.
Oh, honestly, everything we did, I was like, this is good ammo for Hamilton and Kyle, and Chelsea was like, give them all the ammo.
Yes, exactly. That's what I want. I mean, I want all of this stuff because I want to bring these things into the game. So that's great. Okay, cool. So you don't know what caused them to disappear.
Yeah, the idea is kind of that she kind of grew up with them very young, and then like she was very adventurous child, so kind of was going out to like explore stuff, and then came back, and like the whole house and everything had just gone and left behind one item, because I think that was on the cards as well.
Yes.
Potentially.
Okay. Which
was written down. A mysterious necklace of blue crystal that Carrie had never seen before. She carries it everywhere. That's what I have written down.
Oh, I love that.
So we thought it'd be really cool if we both have this like necklace, or they're maybe slightly different.
Yes, or like one half of the necklace.
Or like a half of the necklace. Yeah.
What was that TV program where people are clearly twins? It's in BoJack Horseman. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that, no.
Okay, it's very good. I recommend it. But they have these two people who are very similar, and the whole line is like, it's all a back line, but they're like, yeah, I have this necklace which I have half of, which is like the shape, and I was abandoned, we were both put up for adoption, I've never found my twin, and this person goes, oh, I've got the same thing, how weird is that? And they're like, yeah, I know, how weird, and they're very similar design, but they never like clock it is that they're actually twins. It's quite funny. But yes, I like that. Okay, cool. I also like that it just disappeared into thin air.
Yeah, my first thought was like, oh, there was a big fire, and then I was like, that's boring. Let's make it more mysterious.
Oh, I like that. I've got something that could work for that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Ooh,
we were also kind of thinking that like
notes.
because the idea was that she would kind of be like, oh no, I'm alone, and kind of wander about a bit and get like sort of adopted by some gnomes, we decided.
Yes.
And like they are the ones that gave her name, because they had a favourite horse called Carrot Kisses who had recently died, and they were like, look, it's perfect. A
It's
name for a
been
character.
reincarnated. So how young was Carrie when this happened? Like, we talking?
We have not discussed that, but quite. We didn't think of like ages, but we
Yeah.
thought it was fairly young, so she would have grown up mostly with the
okay.
gnomes.
So like between sort of before 10, are we
Yeah.
thinking? But later than 6 or something. So between
Yes.
yeah,
Maybe
okay.
like old enough, because as
Like-
part of the like disappearing, we were kind of talking about how maybe like her memories of them kind of disappearing slowly as well.
Yes.
So that it's like they never existed, but Carrie's still there for some reason.
Okay, this is even more perfect. Okay, this is fitting into some things. This is, well, it obviously works with our
Ooh.
multiversal sort of thing going
Yeah.
on as well. Okay, cool. All right, I
Yeah.
like that. So I like that she's like losing the memory, but maybe like there's, I don't know, maybe well, I don't know. I don't know how much to give away now, but I think this pendant's going to be very important. That's
Yes.
going to be very important. Let's say. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. Yes. So you brought
There's,
up
like-
with some gnomes. Okay. Go on.
There's like half of me, as we're talking, half of me is like, yes, all the juicy stuff, and then the other half is like, I'm scared.
Yes. Well, that's D&D in a nutshell, isn't it? Right. The fun. I'm freaking out though. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Awesome. So the gnomes then, are they a particular type of gnome? Or the location of them? Were they like, are we talking rock gnomes, mountain gnomes? Are we talking sort of
I don't know about
forest?
I don't know about types of gnomes, because we kind of thought that Carrie would kind of grow up kind of isolated from most like sort of the rest of society, not so much like
Okay.
completely shut off, just kind of more like there's not many centaurs here and people tend to freak out when the centaur like walks through town,
Okay.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the gnomes, we wanted them to kind of be former like scholars or whatever, so that they're for whatever reason are living like in a small village or in a or alone somewhere, and
Okay.
that would allow them to have like a sort of private like library or something where Carrie could like
I like that.
learn stuff and like teach herself stuff, because she's a very curious child, but they don't want her growing out like all the time like exploring, because they're like, don't freak people out, please.
Yeah. Okay.
So she's
And don't like get abandoned again as well.
That
Like,
too.
don't go too far. Like, it's already happened once. Like, let's know. Okay, cool. All right. So I like the idea of like a small library, like a little mini library. Maybe it's like, what do you think? Again, tell me what you think about this. What if their library is like a Learmon's Magic Mansion or whatever it's called, like Mordenkainen
Oh
and Spencer?
yeah.
So they like live in like a very simple sort of house and like village area, but if you go inside the house, there's like a little doorway that opens into this demi-plane, which is a special
Just a
tower
big
where
library.
with a big library for them.
That would be very awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Good. Because I like that. That's awesome. Okay.
I like that too.
So maybe they were. What if they were once Candlekeep gnomes? They worked.
Yeah, that
Candlekeep?
could
Would
work.
you be up for that? Yeah. They've got
Yeah.
like some relationship to that. Maybe that's where they started their sort of like, or at least they've been there. Not that Candlekeep will come up or anything like that. Looks around.
Has someone been reading Candlekeep Mysteries?
Maybe no. No, it's I don't know. Nothing. Just ignore it. We'll just brush over that. We'll just keep on
Didn't
moving.
happen, it's fine.
Nothing happened. So yeah, but they're like, okay, librarians, got a lot of books. Because Carrie's other half. So you're playing the artificer half. The other half of Carrie is a
He's a wizard.
wizard. Exactly. So that makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. So you're basically intelligence focused.
Exactly, yeah.
And so yeah, I like that sort of the art, the sort of playing on the tropes of gnomes, but they're always very like studious and making things and sort of creating. So there's kind of, I like that sort of, but also living in a village, you need to be creative, and for small community in the wilderness, you need to know how to survive, and that requires ingenuity at all corners, I guess. So that makes sense as well.
I also quite like the idea of her kind of teaching herself from books and stuff and from what her parents know.
Cool.
Because it kind of, especially with it being like wizard and artificer together,
Yeah.
it kind of makes it less of a like, hello, you are a wizard and you've been to this school and we've taught you how to use magic, and it's more kind of like, these work together, I did
Yeah.
a thing,
As if like you wanted to make something, so you needed to learn the arcane to make this thing work.
Yes.
So you became a wizard for the nature of you wanting to make your artifices, your things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Maybe that's kind of like you were sort of. Maybe it's partially the not going out is. Again, tell me if you always with anything. Just tell me if you like want to chuck this in a bin. But like that idea that Carrie self sort of isolated, not using a term, not using a modern data, as in, was this sort of like found a hobby as a way to sort of stay, like to do something while she was at home in this library world. So and then they sort of encouraged it as well because it's like well this is something you could be doing and maybe got you like if you said I want to make this. You've got a construct, haven't you? Because you're a Battlesmith. So maybe even got you like materials and brought them to you, so that like and gave you everything you needed to, feed that hobby.
Because I really like that because we kind of spoke about her being like very adventurous and like wanting to go out and stuff, and like both her sets of parents being like, just be safe, please.
Yes.
So that kind of allows her to kind of focus her energy somewhere else. So it's maybe not even necessarily that she's like decided I'm not going to go out so much. It's kind of more like her parents going, hey, look, we've got this massive library.
Yeah.
And conveniently she doesn't go out.
Yeah, exactly. I think that sounds quite nice. And then also, I can imagine though if she's like wants to be adventurous, is it more like half the time comes out of a room with her hair like half singed, and is that kind of like attitude I'm getting, or is that
definitely
okay, cool.
I think chaotic weird was how Chelsea described it, and I was like, yes.
Amazing. Okay, cool. So is the stranger card then, was that these gnomes then, or is this something else?
No, that.
Okay.
Work as well with it, and that was the idea that her birth parents were warlocks. And that they had made a deal with like this. For some reason, they wanted to raise Carrie out of the Feywild on her own, and that they wanted to keep that a secret. And this Archfey had found out, and they'd made some kind of deal in order for them to not reveal their location. But then they didn't hold up their end of the deal, and then so they disappeared or whatever.
Okay.
But I don't know, because I've written it in the notes, but it's kind of like maybe undecided because we weren't sure. But then that's also something that Carrie wouldn't know. So then our last kind of conversation about it, we were like, just let Hamilton and Carl decide.
Yeah. Okay. I think there's that sort of touches on something I had in my head, but okay, I'll keep that in mind. And
that was kind of the idea for the stranger.
Yeah. Okay.
We didn't really.
All right.
know.
Well, maybe it even turns up. Maybe it just becomes something else. I don't know. But yeah, I like that. I kind of like that idea. I've got an idea. I have an idea, but I will keep it to myself. There we go. So is that what so the discovery then was your piece of jewelry? I imagine that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. And then values. You have virtuous goals.
So that was a difficult one. We didn't speak about it very much because we've got differing alignments for starters.
Yes.
And also neither of us are good neutral.
Yeah.
But like, I was thinking about like, because I've only ever played one chaotic neutral character before, and they were like pretty awful. They were just not quite as awful as some of the other PCs in the party. It was a whole thing. But anyway.
Yes.
And I was like, I feel like the way that we've kind of built, thought of Carrie, she doesn't strike me as like, your classic like a roguish kind of like selfish but not evil character. She doesn't strike me as that. So I was like, maybe she just, because she spent her whole life kind of more isolated, her view is just on the here and now and the immediacy of her environment. So
makes sense.
Perhaps she doesn't necessarily do good things because they're good for the world. She does them because someone tried to hurt her friends, or it's good for her.
I always think that chaotic neutral gets twisted to chaotic evil a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, people just play chaotic neutral and think neutral means fuck it, which is not. It's not like, I think to a certain extent. I think chaotic makes a lot of sense though, because they are just. I'm imagining this sort of, as I said, the burnt singed hair half the time, and just like that sort of chaotic wizard artificer, that sort of idea. But I think the neutrality, I think, can be played just as you said. Like, it's on a whim, it's on the immediacy of what's in front of you, as well as it's just like, I don't know, you can take it however you like as well, with good and evil, whatever. What does that mean? Like, what does one person's sin is another's value, or something like that? I can't remember. That's a famous
I don't know what
saying.
the phrase is, but yeah.
There's a phrase along those lines. But my point is that, like, I think that, I always take evil generally down the sort of more selfish route. It's that more selfish, and then the good is the more selfless, as like a simple factor. But the neutral is kind of just like, maybe just being above that sometimes, like being like, maybe there is times to be one or the other, like as in, I need to help my friends only right now, or I need to help myself right now, or I need to do, or not even having any value thinking on it, just impulsively doing it, if you see what I mean. And so it's just, however, as you said, the immediacy thing. So it's not like they've got a rule set that they're aware of, they just do what seems right at the time.
Just react and
reactive, exactly. But we did talk about, though, and this wasn't around until I've spoken to you, but the sort of belief system thing that I was thinking of using, which, just to clarify to people at home, that's not like having a god or anything. It's just like trying to find some values that characters may have, or if that's just alignment, or if it's just like believing that, I don't know, what it could be, just that I have money doesn't have any value to me. That could be a belief. Or I'm trying to think of another good example, like that's an altruistic one. If every money I make, everything but what I definitely need, everything else goes to charity. That's like a value, or something like a belief. And the thing would be that if your character like stays and sticks to these beliefs, then you might gain more points, which you could then use at a certain time for benefits like getting advantage and stuff. Just, it's a thing that's in the Planescape book, and it was kind of like, because we're going to be having a planar thing, it would also help me realize how different planes relate to you. Instead of using alignment, because alignment, as we've just said, can be conflicting, like people
wishy-washy sometimes.
It is, exactly. And so I was trying to find it, so if you don't have to answer now, but if you do have any, then it'd be interesting, because then it would mean, like, because certain realms will deal with, they always use the evil characters in good realms will get attacked on sight by planetars, for example, in Elysium. But I don't want it to just be as simple as that. I think it could be like, we'll try and figure out where you sort of sit in regards to their sort of beliefs, and make it more like that as well, which could be interesting. I don't know, or it could be complete crap, and I'll just ignore it. But
no, it definitely sounds really interesting. I think I have one. I hadn't really thought about it in detail, but I definitely have one thing I think that Carrie would stick to, and that's like, I mean, she's a wizard and an artificer, so she's got to believe that, like, more knowledge can only be a good thing.
Exactly, that's a good one. That's a perfect one. Yeah, I
don't see any reason why she would ever be like, maybe I don't want to know that thing. She's going to want to know everything.
That's exactly it. So I think, like, so to explain the belief system, and that, using that as an example, you'd say that Carrie, like, puts knowledge over as, like, the most important part of outside of life, like an external source. So then if there was like a moment where the choice is between a book, a tome of infinite knowledge, and some very worthy, expensive piece of jewelry, if Carrie didn't choose the book, that would be kind of going against the belief. Do you know what I mean? It's a very simple one, but if she chose the book, you might gain a little simple point towards your belief points, sort of thing. As in, like, it's a weird term, I know, but maybe we'll figure a new name for it. But, like, you'll just gain a sort of, like, character point, let's say, and then those you can use later for some reason. Yeah. I don't really give away too much. I've got, like, an idea that could work quite well, but also you can spend them for, like if you get like 5, you can gain advantage on a roll that's related to it. So maybe like an intelligence roll, you get like double advantage, or you can re-roll an attack or something like that if it's using one of your artificer, because you're using intelligence as your modifier, so that would relate to that. So you could do stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know if it works, but as I said, it will try it. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So we've got Carrie to a level. We've got a backstory for Carrie that takes her to a good level. Like, she's become a wizard. She's become an artificer. So how does she then get from this gnome, like, palatial, like sort of lovely little village, pastoral as well as pastoral little village? Yeah. How does she end up fighting the biggest bad in the universe?
So we kind of thought, nothing really like concrete, but like she's got at some point she's gonna start asking questions about her birth parents, because if you are a centaur and your parents are gnomes, at some point you're gonna realize something's up there. So I think, I mean, the gnomes aren't gonna know anything at all.
No.
So she would have at some point like gone out to start like trying to find information, and perhaps like using the necklace that she has, or even if that, like, when she starts asking questions, the gnomes are like, well, you did have this. Maybe like just kind of try and
didn't
find
have the necklace. They took the necklace away from her.
I don't know. That just came out of my brain just now. We did.
Like that.
So maybe.
What if it's what? Okay, now again, what if Carrie found the necklace, and then when putting on the necklace, they then flood with memories that they've now returned to them, and they go, "What? My parents aren't dead? They are they disappeared? Like, what the fuck?" And either is that okay or not?
That could be cool. Yeah.
Okay. That's
very cool. And then the gnomes will be there, like, kind of like, oh no, what is happening?
Yeah. Like, for your own safety, they thought, because maybe they knew your parents. Maybe they knew your parents somehow.
Maybe. I mean, they would have just lived, like, I can't imagine, she would have been very young, so I can't imagine she would have got very far, so they would have lived relatively nearby to each other.
Maybe they knew that something about, maybe, I'm not going to say if they know, but they knew a little bit of what happened or what caused this to occur, so they thought the safest bet was get rid of the evidence and just say your parents have gone. You know, they unfortunately died in an accident, and they thought that was the best option for you so that you didn't go wandering into something dangerous. You know, they wanted to, maybe they even like thought that's what your parents would want. They wouldn't want you to end up in the same fate as them, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
So for your own protection, they hid it. You then find it one day when, like, oh, I need a gem for this spell.
Rifling through Mum's jewelry box.
Yeah,
like.
Exactly. Then you just pick this one, and then suddenly, when you hold it in your hand, it's just like this sort of floods back to you, and then however Carrie responds to either asks them what the heck or just runs. Like, either way, however you want to.
Yeah, I think. Like, I think her relationship with these gnomes is probably going to be very positive. So, I don't. On the one hand, I'm like, I don't believe she would just like run without saying anything, but also, she might just run without really thinking, and
That's
then like, and then be, like, one day down the road is like, oh no, I never told them where I was going. Whoops.
Yes, that's kind of what I meant. Like, it's more like the immediacy of that emotion, which maybe is what you're like. Maybe that is part of them, that they would just, you know, there's a sort of trance that they might go under, like that because of all that flood of information, they just don't know what they're doing. They just run to where they think the house is, like where it was, because they know where it is now. Maybe that's the first thing they do without talking to them, and then they talk to them later. I don't know, but then they go there to find nothing there.
Yeah.
Okay.
In which Carrie is becoming a Time Lord.
Is she? Yes.
I mean, this whole like last conversation, and I'm like, I mean, we have like the pocket watch, and we have the home not being there.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
See, I don't watch a lot of Doctor Who, but I at least know those two things. So
I'm more than happy with that because I love Doctor Who.
Okay, good. Yeah, a lot of people keep telling me that's again one of the ones Fiona and I keep saying, like, I have to watch because she always uses references in our other show, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know the reference. I'm sorry. So I need to watch it so I can get these references. But yes, okay, cool. So yeah, you get back. Okay, so then maybe that's the journey is searching for.
It's like what happened. Yeah.
What happened? What if? How about this? Again, this is just coming off the top of my head. But what if that leads you to Caraptus, the bad guy? So Caraptus, bad guy, backstory-wise in his world, he started stealing people from the planes to train up the great and the powerful of the universes, the multiverse, the planes, to sort of take them and then turn them into dragons, which is how like he made his like dragon reign. He like found all the powerful people instead of like he thought it was easier than it's 1,000 years he's been doing this for, and he thought it's easier than like getting the dragons on on his side. He thought it'd be easier just to create all these powerful mages and fighters and make them dragons that he could control, basically. It makes no sense. It's like the worst story ever, but it was made for like one shot, so apologies. But that's where we are, and that's how it works. So maybe either that is the way where they end up, or maybe that's not, but that's what you thought, you believe is.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
They find out what like Caractacus has been doing, and it's like, oh, maybe he took my parents.
Yes.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, and so that your belief is that Caractacus is the one, but he's still like, you've not found any trace of them. It doesn't seem like they are, but you believe in your hope. This like hope that this is the answer because it seems so obvious. Like, why would it not be? Like, all these other people went and disappeared. But they generally disappeared by going to White Plume Mountain. Your parents didn't, but you've just got this sort of like, well, that's the answer. This is the immediacy in front of me.
Like, maybe she kind of latches onto that idea because she doesn't know of any other reason why they would just disappear out of thin air. And then just continuously, like, confirmation bias, steamroller.
Exactly.
Like...
Yeah. But maybe it is. Still,
maybe it is. Maybe she's right.
But I kind of like that it wouldn't be. But I mean, we'll see. But maybe it's both. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not as simple as that. But
maybe her father is Caractacus.
Oh, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
No.
Because it wouldn't. He's like 1,000 years old. He's like disappeared. Or maybe he's your real father.
Unless.
Okay, I'm joking. No, let's not do that. Yes, it's literally this. I've made Star Wars. Oh crap! No. So
don't. I made a PC once where Will actually DM'd the campaign he was in, and I made him all, and it was an ice sorcerer, and it was great. And then I turned around to Will and went, "Well, I've made Elsa," and he was like, "Oh no."
It's so easily done, though.
It's so easily done.
Yeah. I made. What did I write? I wrote Game of Thrones the other week by accident. I've never watched it, and then I realised I was writing Game of Thrones. I was like, oh, I didn't know that's what happened. I was like, what if? Because when we were talking, as for this, it was the other. It was a really old idea that I had with Kyle for what this show would be, and it's like, what if there was no dragons in the world? They all disappeared, and then they came back when someone found an egg. Like, we have someone who finds an egg, and he's like, "You've seen Game of Thrones, right?" And it's like, "No." And he's like, "That's Game of Thrones." It's like, oh, well, fuck that then. I didn't realise, but I wrote Game of Thrones. I mean, it's not wrote Game of Thrones, but you know what I mean. It just came up with the same story. So, yes, it's going to always happen. Okay, but that makes sense. So with that, you've got this drive. You are determined to find Caractacus and fight Caractacus. And therefore, you join up with this party of adventurers who all have other reasons. So I'll give you a bit because of what we've got so far, because then you will know this because you would have spent time with your companions. But
yeah.
So, and how much, I'll give you a little brief, I mean, whatever's out on this video, you can find out, so there you go. But how much your character knows, you can then determine between each other a bit. But I think, so we had Guillermo. So Guillermo is like a Gith Zerai, who had a bit of wanderlust, kept wandering around Limbo. It's where Gith Zerais live, on this like plane. And in his wandering around, he got trapped into a portal into a dread domain of a demon, of a vampire lord.
A lovely upbringing right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he was already in his like late teens with it. He's like 18, 19 when this happened. Yeah. So he had a nice upbringing in his like Gith Zerai fortress like place, but fell into this plane, and then immediately when you like go into that plane, you get a vision of your death, which may not be true, may be true, but it kind of enforces a sort of a charm effect on you that you then do not wish for that death so much that you wish to be undead yourself. So you become a familiar to help this vampire, and that's how his dread domain sort of works, if you see what I mean. Like it kind of, but so like Guillermo from What We Do in the Shadows, he accidentally keeps killing other vampires. in the vampire realm. It's all kind of comically stupid. Like he's a druid, so he keeps accidentally you going, oh, I need a light, and just instead of using the light spell, uses sunbeam spell in the room and just goes, oh yeah, I'll use sunbeam because I can't really see what I'm doing, and then we'll put a sunbeam up, and then all these like vampires go, what are you doing? Oh, and he goes, oops, like that, and tries to pretend that that's not happening until some adventurers come in who don't get put under the charm. So it's like a fail-safe sort of thing. And they kind of take him away and like he goes, oh my gosh, what have I been doing, and then joins a group in Sigil. So they take him to like Sigil in Planescape Place, and he joins a group which is all about like against the idea of gods being really gods. They're just mortals that are really powerful, because he wants no one to come under like a belief system too much. He's quite worried about people getting caught up in like organized religion, is like his idea, in that sort of sense, like in the sense of like doesn't want that to happen to anyone else, unless like, and that's kind of one of the factions he felt fit with that character. And he rose up the ranks because he's very important to him, so he got to a point where he then saw this Caraptis figure trying to get himself to a demigod status, and realize his belief being that any human can become a god, that he thought, I don't want this guy to become a god, so he goes and stops him, sort of thing. And maybe you meet, because you're maybe plane hopping a bit, because you're trying to find your parents that way, so maybe that's how you've come across this group. I don't know, but we'll figure that out, but I think that kind of works a little bit. And then the other one was Frankie, who's our evil character. So Frankie, who was part of a circus troupe. She's a rogue, so her parents are all dead, because it's
of course.
Yes, this is awful. So, but she's not got real parents either. She's like you. She's like Carrie. So doesn't know what happened to her real goblin parents, but she got taken in by these human circus troupes who were actually just stealing things from people. And when they were trying to steal, they stole from the wrong person, got caught, they all got imprisoned, and she escaped she used to pretend she was human to fit in with the family, because she wanted to feel like a part of it, but when they all got caught, she wiped all like the makeup off on the face and was just a goblin to everyone else, so they just thought, oh, you're not the little girl we're looking for, she's obviously escaped. So she got away, but still had this sort of like, wanted to just like, had this sort of evil twist to her, wanted to make money, was sort of seen what the world could be so evil, so why bother being good, was kind of her idea. So went to Luskan, joined the pirate crew, became a pirate captain, learned the trades of arcane through like arcane, she's like an arcane trister rogue, and sort of rose up the ranks to be like one of the top 5 pirate captains. And so when Caraptis comes, their sort of like desire, sorry, they're a verdant, so they're a goblin changeling, I keep so goblinoid, but when obviously Caraptis comes, they take away all that they've done, and they're like, I've done all this awful stuff to get to this point, I'm not going to let you take that away from me. Do you know what I mean? That's sort of like, even though they're sort of evil in the sense of like self-involvedness, and their whole point then is like, they're going to be on the good side for this, because I want what I got back. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to be still...
if they're on the good side, they can still go back and do the
well, they can still... They want to rule their city again. They want to rule their domain, however, and make all the money and live in lavish luxury, however they want. So that's their sort of motivation. And will they become good? Will the party steal their heart? or not? I don't know. Or will the whole party turn evil halfway through? We'll see. So that's the other groups. And then Hummel, all I know so far, which we'll see later, is a bard who travels the world and becomes a fantastic bard. So that's your party. So there's your... So it kind of works like, I can see that you just join up with this travelling troupe of people who wish to end, like become like a super group, like join up for the fight to fight Caraptis, and you just join because you're all in the same area, or maybe it's like one of those bands where like they make them, they sort of, they make a band by like just go. I'm
imagining like the scene in Endgame where they're all like, "Wait, you're after Thanos? No, aren't you on Thanos' side? No, you're after Thanos," kind of thing, and they're all just kind of like, "Wait, we all want to kill Caraptis?
Yes.
Should we do it together?"
That's kind of let's just do that. I think that kind of works to me. That kind of makes sense, and so I feel that you only know each other for a very short period of time. Potentially. So like you've only just joined together to help fight this fight, and so that's why you end up like, and so you don't know everything about each other, but there would have been evenings around the campfire whilst you're on the trail or stuff like that where you would maybe talk to each other. You might just completely ignore each other, you don't know, but it might be you've got to do like figure out strategy, and it's been maybe, let's say, like a year that you're all together, maybe 18 months, and you finally like track down Caraptis, his like real locations. So like there's lots of clones of Craptis about.
Of course there is.
Yeah, exactly. So
Of
you
course there is.
double yeah, well, he's a wizard. What else is he gonna do but make clones? Like, he's got nothing better to do. So
Carrie's taking notes.
yes, exactly. I need to make clones. Maybe there is a clone of Carrie. I'm going to tell you a backstory I did, which I'm not going to use in this because I've already used it and I've told everyone this one before. But I had a gnome character who was a ranger, and he said, I haven't got an idea for a backstory. Make up a backstory for me. So I said, okay, you've done that now. That's your own fault. And I made it that he was the clone of a wizard, and the wizard wants him back. And that was his backstory, basically. And so, like his whole backstory was all these other clones. There was 20 clones. He was one of 20, and so I had to roll d20s for whenever another clone would turn up and try and like help. He'd have to go save that clone or try and help. The clone would try and help him. It was quite fun.
Amazing.
Anyway, but maybe I could do that to Carrie. Maybe Carrie's got a clone somewhere she doesn't know about. But yes, you found the real Craptis on this mountain. You finally got to the final battle. And that's where we're going to join your characters. And then what happens? Exactly. So, are you happy with Carrie? Are you happy where Carrie is?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Good.
Fun. Lots of unopened
boxes.
Unopened boxes. Let's go with that. That wasn't what I was going to say, but it works.
But, yeah, unanswered questions.
That was probably it.
Yeah, and also like this is like a very brief overlay. There's so much more of their life and characters that you can add in, and I'll just chuck at you and stuff like that, and we can talk about at other times about these things. But like, maybe just think about them as you go, and just always give notes and stuff like that. But I think this just gives people at home, because I'm trying to show you as like characters that have a background, because that's where we're gonna start off. It felt like I needed to give people some information so that they knew you a bit more before they suddenly like join you on this quest where even though you might not be your full powered 15 character anymore, you have that past still and you don't forget it, sort of thing. So that's cool. Well, that's it. That's everything I had to say. Unless you had anything else you wanted to add about Carrie.
I have one more thing to say.
Yes.
I haven't actually asked Chelsea about this, but then I'm sure it'll be fine. My Carrie, I think my Carrie's going to have a southern accent.
Oh, yes.
Because I think that would be really fun.
Yes, okay, I'm on board for that, that's for sure, yes.
I was kind of thinking, I was like, what's like the stereotypical farmer accent for America? And then I was like, it'd be really funny if Chelsea had to do a West Country accent, but I'm not going to do that to her.
No, do it. That would be amazing.
I can't do a West Country accent. That's so mean.
You can't do a West Country... Oh my gosh, you can't do a West Country accent. You've got to spend some more time down there, you do. It's very easy. I sometimes go into it a bit if I get a bit tired, because I hang around a lot in Bath and that lot, everyone talks a bit like this. So, yeah, there you go.
I can only really do it if I make it like a pirate voice.
Oh yes, that's cool, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're adjacent. They're definitely adjacent.
Yeah.
It's like Grog. I mean, Grog was. I thought like Travis. Did you watch Critical Role?
No, I don't. When I only got into D&D like last year, and there was already so much of it. I was like, no.
I totally get it. Like I was talking to some other people, and they're like, "How did you listen to all that?" I was like, "I don't know. I don't know how I did." It was over a lot. I mean, I did like start listening to it about 5 years ago now. 5 years ago. So I was I didn't have like 150 to get through right at the beginning, which now there's like 300 or something ridiculous like that. So
too many.
It's too many. But okay, cool. Well, I think you should do that to Chelsea. I think that would be hilarious. She'd at least try. She should at least give it a go. But if not, I really like the southern accent. That's really cool. Okay. Okay. I think that's enough before we diverge into complete accent chaos. So thank you so much for your time, Chloe. Thank you for
having me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for talking about Carrie. I'm really excited to see how they develop and how they grow in our show, as well as this accent as well. And technically I will actually see Chloe for the backstage story here. They actually recording the first episode tonight, so that's exciting. So I will see you in a few hours when we record our first episode. But thank you again, and everyone can find you at Chloe_with_the_flow as well.
Yes.
There we go. All right. Well, all there is to say is bye-bye, everyone. And I will see you with... I'll see you with Luke in about 5 seconds' time. Bye! Hello, and I am back. You would have just seen me talking to Chloe a moment ago. Now I'm joined with the livacious and luscious Luke. How's that? How's those?
Luscious. I know, that's fine. I have no. I'm
I don't know what livacious means.
I don't know what
either.
livacious means. I'm going to take it as a compliment.
I think
That's
it's a
fine.
good thing. Let's take it as a good thing.
That's
Luke,
right, then.
Luke, we are talking about Hummel, but before we do, tell me about yourself. Give us a bit of a. Who is Luke? Not,
Who
you
am
have to go
I?
too deep. Yeah. Who are you? Where are you from?
Well,
who are you?
one Christmas / New Year's Eve party in the would have been late. Well, of course, late because of course, Christmas is late in the year.
Christmas
1985. There was a bedroom at a party being used as the cloakroom.
Let's skip forward about 20 years.
Skip forward like 35 years.
Yeah.
And here I am. I'm me. I mean, I did this before. I was really nervous on the first game show episode. I was like, just shouting crap out. But, I'm an Essex boy. I'm an Essex boy.
Born and bred. Whereabouts in Essex are you from? Where's your stomping grounds? If you want to say, don't have to say.
I grew up in Dagenham, so
I
went to school in Chadwell Heath. Used to spend many a drunken night in Romford.
Oh yeah.
That's me. Who am I? I'm a geek. We're all geeks, of course we are.
Playing D&D, mate.
D&D,
hate to break it to you.
Yeah. But I mean, like my D&D cred, I grew up playing. My parents role played. They got me into D&D when I was like 8. I did some LARPing in my teens. Got back into 5e like 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. Decided to do a podcast. Did that, and I'm addicted, and now I can't stop. And I've got like 4 different projects on the go now. Like someone else, Steve, your Curse of Strahd DM, put out today on Twitter. He was like, "Oh, I'm thinking about wanting to play some MERP," and I was like, "Mate, if you put a MERP game together, I am there." Like,
oh dear, mate, you're gonna have no time.
No time at all. I mean, there's this going on. I've got my Pathfinder podcast, Cut from the Chronicles, coming soon. Check us out.
Yes.
So we're doing that. Dice and Die guys are talking about coming back. We've been chatting and they want to get back together, so that's looking like that's going to happen. Heard it here first. Then I've got this Friday night. Exclusive. This Friday night, but of course you're going to be hearing this in the future, and it would have already happened. But I'm guesting on Manapot Studios on this Friday night, and with the potential of being a regular on their show. And I've just got fingers in all these pies. But
bloody hell,
yeah,
you're a Cthulhu.
I'm aiming to be on Critical Role Series 6. There we go. I'll give myself a couple of years,
That's fair. Yeah, that's probably be 2030, but yeah, that's probably
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's
Critical Role season. I like that as a goal. That's a good goal.
yeah.
I'm going to apologise now that I'm going to use mate a lot because you're using it, and you're going to bring me back to my Essex years.
Yeah, whereabouts are you from then? You said to me before, but
I grew up in Bucks, so Aylesbury way. But I then moved to South Woodford when I was about 16. So I was there, and my mum was there, and then my mum's now was like Epping, and now she's in Harlow. So yeah. So more than half my life, my mum's been in Essex. So yeah.
You know what? It's better than the stick that it gets. Actually, I think worse places than Essex.
Oh no, Essex gets a lot of stick unfairly, I think. Yeah. But as my stepdad, who's Essex through and through, I mean, he wasn't born there, but he's lived there most of his life, and he tells me about every single amazing person that's from Essex, and it's quite a lot of famous like sports people and actors,
including the famous inspiration David Bowie. He's an Essex boy,
He is, yeah, he is indeed. It was, but yeah, I think Brixton is the home that people take, and then he's got a big connection to Aylesbury as well. That's where he did his first sort of live gig, I think.
Cool. I honestly don't know much about him other than like
he brought up Bowie
big
around me.
Songs,
it's gonna happen.
I know. I did it on purpose.
Yeah, it will gain you points and approval from your DM. So that's all. That's all good.
Super. Right.
So talking Bowie, talking bards, talking the bardic god that is. We've got Hummel to talk about.
Hummel, which
I still hate.
I know you do. I know. I suggested it as a joke, and you know what Moses is like. He just ran with it, and I was like, all right, fair enough. And actually, the joke wasn't so much that it was incredibly similar to your name, but actually, in my head, I was trying to come up with funny euphemisms, and I had something else that rhymes with Hummel in my head, and I'm a filth bag.
Fine.
So Hummel man,
Yes.
I mean, as I said, Mosey ran with it, my alter ego, and we, obviously no one knew what class we were going to get, but I think we settled on how much we'd love a bard quite quickly.
Well, it was inevitable. It could not be undone.
I know, 2 rolls, yeah, absolutely, and it did very quickly become a
The
case of-
re-rolls even, because you even had to re-roll one of them. We even made you re-roll and you got a bard third
That's
time.
right. And it was a case of, wouldn't it be funny if to wind up Hamilton? It was, and I do apologise. I'm going to blame Mosey.
That's
'cause he's
the
not
point.
here to defend himself.
No, that's fine, and that's what Ryan does most of the time anyway. That's part of the show, is taking the piss out of me, so that's fine. Okay, but so you've gone for a bard, lawful neutral halfling as well. So you've got halfling bard. You went for College of Valour. I know I spell Valour the English way, and when I was trying to Google it.
Danger! This is not a drill. Imminent danger is approaching. Seek shelter immediately. Danger.
To find out some info.
Coming up, OUR, isn't it?
OR. So it's like, so apologies to the Americans out there. There's no U in
is
it.
going on in here?
Jeez,
Oh.
Kyle.
I
Kyle's
will
turned up to our
murder
recording.
everyone.
He's going to get upset now. Where's my invite?
Where's my invite? Kyle,
You're
perfect.
all
Join us, Kyle.
fucking die.
Do you want to join us, Kyle? Do you want to join us?
What are you doing?
We're
what
doing,
the hell's going on
we're doing
in here?
Hummel's backstory. We're recording.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yay! I get to see what's happening with Hummel. I just recorded our thing, so I got a little bit of the story
Okay.
from Mosey.
Okay.
So this will just be a real quick come in, fuck things up, and
Yeah.
leave.
Classic. Classic Kyle. Thanks, Kyle. Thank
Excellent.
you. Excellent.
I do what I can.
That's fine. That's fine. So we've just introduced Luke. I've just introduced Hummelto and how much I hate the name, and we've talked about
It really is very close to
many
a
things.
difficult situation
Yeah.
that some people face, also known as for separate genders, also known as moose knuckle.
Yes.
Yes. So he got it.
So you chose College of Valour as well. Interesting choice of subclass for the bard.
Yeah, I don't know much about bards. I've never played one before, and it seems like the most actiony kind of one out of the lot. Some of the expanded subclasses I just didn't like the look of. I didn't want to be too spellcasty, so I thought having a bit of kind of a swashbuckler kind of edge to it was nice.
Yeah, that's quite cool. I think it's a classic one. It's the sort of like hero's tale. Very
exactly.
Bardic, bolshy bardic sort of music. You can imagine the songs. I think I've only played one bard before, and that was the College of Spirits bard, which was quite weird.
I haven't even heard that one. I pretty much gave up. I gave up following D&D kind of stuff. Is it in Xanathars? Because I do have that.
Spirits, I think it was later.
That's pretty much the last book I got was Xanathars.
I think College of Spirits is in Tasha's,
Which would be why I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, but it's basically they communicate with the dead and get information. So I played like a creepy kobold who was like really aged and sang arias, basically.
Nice.
So they were like Ave Maria the whole way through, basically like that.
I'm sorry, was that your version of Ave Maria?
Yeah, I know it's not great.
Right in the middle, like you're gonna pull out Ave Maria.
Well, I tried what I could do. I did what was Pavarotti's one. I did what's it called?
Ave Maria.
There you go. See, I needed Kyle to hang
There we
around.
go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And Vincero.
Sorry. Yes.
So I did
Bard.
that. Yeah, I did that.
I want to hear Lukey. I want to hear Lukey sing
Yeah,
Ave
but
Maria
Luke, by the
now.
way, yeah,
I'm an uncultured couth, and I have no idea what you're going on about at all.
It's the name of the song is all I need to hear from you. Just Ave Maria. That's I need this. Yes.
Ave Maria.
That was Laura. I love your Rex Harrison take on that. That speaks singing. Yes.
I could probably. Was it? I'm gonna get this completely wrong now. Was it Blondie that came back in the noughties with Maria? Maria, gotta see her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Comes
that's
in
that.
and out of your life.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's about as close as you're gonna get, really.
Wow, that's very good. I mean, to be fair, this is one of the first things I was going to do, and I was going to spring this on you: is how good is your singing? Because you are a bard.
Oh,
yeah.
And I thought what we should do is make you sing on stream, but I don't know. If that's
it
too
would
mean.
depend on how much I've drank, really.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm going
I don't know.
to offer
I've
up
always thought that I can do a fairly decent. I'm going to shoot myself in the face in a second. What's his name? Pearl Jam. Eddie Vedder. I've always thought I could do a little bit decent.
I'm gonna say if you can give 30 seconds of decent song.
Yeah.
Here. I'm gonna gift a lovely little magical item from our universe that got destroyed this week to it.
Let's do that,
and if it's not fabulous,
oh
then
god!
Wait, I'm gonna
Mosey. Then Mosey's gonna get one of your magic items.
Oh Christ! I've said it now. That's gonna have some Pearl Jam.
You should just.
It's been like that. Terrible. Can't sing, mate. Can't sing.
You can't sing. I can kick out. What's the song? The Pearl Jam song on Versus. Indifference. I can play that on the guitar.
Nice. Versus is an alright album.
It's an all right.
To be fair, like Black is probably one of the greatest albums ever crafted. 10, sorry. 10.
Black Metallica album is a great album as well, but yeah.
Which is also a good album, yeah, but 10's fantastic. Versus was alright.
What's the one with there? Off He Goes On? The one about Kurt Cobain, that's a good album as well. I forget which one that is.
I don't know.
I'm not a fan of Vitology very much, but there you go.
No, that was the next one. And they did start slipping off and become a bit dad rocky, I think. But I only really got into them because I'm the youngest child. So, in 93, 94, I was 6 or something, you know? So
I will hurt you. It will hurt you so much.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I get put them on the spot. So I actually sing this for my kids. Sometimes when they can't sleep, I do actually sing Black for them and have done since they were a baby.
Okay.
And normally I'd have no qualms in doing it at all, but you put me on the spot.
Okay, that's fine.
Turn my camera off.
No, it's fine. I won't do this. I won't
Sheets of empty canvas under sheets of clay. Her legs spread out before me as her body once did, and all 5 horizons revolve around her soul as the earth to the sun. And now the air I tasted and breathed has taken a turn. Anyway, it's enough. And all I thought there was.
There we go.
All right.
Okay, give him a magic item. Give him magic.
So
item.
yeah, we can give one of the. I'll talk to Mosey and see which, because I don't know if you know this, but the other team, the U.S. team, we recorded our first one.
Spoilers.
They're ahead of us. Are they in the lead?
Because we're better than you.
Oh.
Going down the freaking
Careful.
gauntlet.
Right. That's right. No, I'll give you one of Mosey's items. I'll talk to him and see which ones he's got left, and then
tell him he's lost it and then I like this. Okay, sing for your soup is basically what we're doing. Cool.
If you're a goddamn bard,
exactly. That's it.
You better.
I've been looking at spoilers, and I'm sure we'll get into it in a bit. But I've been looking at recorders. I'm trying to think can I? Because I do play guitar, and I dabble on drums. I used to be play bass in a metal band, like gigs around Camden and stuff. So I was like, oh, can I be bothered? I only need to learn a couple of little nursery rhymes, like do I get a recorder? But no, I haven't yet. I might do. If you twist my arm, I might do.
I think you need to get one. I think you really do. I think Mosey also needs to get bagpipes.
Get a bagpipe.
To play for Kyle.
Oh my god!
Or at least get like
I will literally shatter the world to destroy those bagpipes.
Do it though. Or at least get like a keyboard that plays bagpipe noises, which makes it even worse because it's like nah 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 nah. Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay, right. Well, awesome. After that fantastic display of musical genius, why don't we then move on to the story behind the backstory, as it is also known.
The backstory. So when you said like, okay, make a backstory for the character, like I'm used to making. You said we're starting level 5, make a backstory. Yeah. And then I realised that you wanted a story that's going to take him all the way up to 15 or something, but I haven't done that part.
No, because that's the point of this show, is I wanted you to go away and make the one to level 5, and then we together will use these cards that I've got here, or whatever we want, and we'll just build, like I did with everyone else before, we've done exactly the same thing, and just sort of build them to a level 15 and how that makes sense off what your initial story is. So give us the intro. Give us the intro.
Right. Okay. Let me find it. So, Hummel is from the Halfling village. It's very, very Tolkien-esque. He comes from an entire village of Halflings called. It's just called Hummel. Or Hamilton. Is basically Hamilton. Hamilton, like Hobbiton, Hamilton. Okay. Named so. It's named so after the founding family of the town, the Hummels. So Hummeltoe's great-grandfather was the founder of the town, and his name was Hummel Fro. Okay? So it's basically, Hummel is the family name. So they go backwards, you see. So
family name first, and their actual name is... So their given name is Toe.
Toe, yeah. T-O-W, not...
It's spelled on the screen right there, T-O-W.
Absolutely. Right, so background, Hamilton, as I said, it's basically Hobbiton, sleepy little farming town, made up tiny halflings. They,
the
unlike...
town is made of halflings.
Made of, literally, they're, in the walls. But like, it's not to say like Hobbiton when they at first, they're a little bit, they don't like the outsiders. This is Faerun, so tall people come, they're aware, they trade, but this little tiny village is just the halflings basically.
As in, it's built for halflings, so a tall person would find it difficult to live there. But maybe a gnome or a dwarf could live there comfortably. Yeah,
in theory, though. In theory. Yeah. So Hummeltoe's father, Hummelron, is the current de facto leader of the town. Although there's no official government, all right, the townsfolk basically just look up to him because of the family name. So he's kind of the de facto leader. And Hummeltoe, of course, being the eldest son, is destined to take over the family dairy farm and follow in his father's footsteps, as his father's did as well.
Yeah.
Now, basically, adventure life. So when he was a young man, because halflings, they live for quite a while, don't they? A couple 100 years. So he was an adolescent, not a kid necessarily. A group of adventurers came through the town. They stayed a couple of nights, resting up, sharing songs, and stuff like that. Now, there was one member of the group who was a beautiful elven warrior named Ishtari. Caught his eye, but it wasn't just their beauty that caught Hummeltoe's attention, but it was the way that they generally carried themselves and their confidence. But mostly, they were a bard, and it was their voice and the stories that they told and the songs they sang that really kind of got his attention. And then, cut a long story short, I mean, I can go through all this if you want.
No,
you've read this.
Please do. People at home don't know this stuff. I'm interested,
So, cool, okay. So, there was one particular night when he was sat on the edge of a fireplace at the inn, listening to them, I keep on saying that, listening to them singing, when he finally built up the courage to approach and talk to them. And basically... they took a shining to him, but because everybody else was tell us about your fighting stories and stuff, all he wanted to know was, where did you learn to sing the music?
How did you when
you've got this, this is not a warrior's trade yet, and he was very interested in that, and how the music and the adventuring life can blend together, and you can tell these stories and stuff, so they kind of took a shine to him because of that, because he was different to everyone else, so they sat with him for a while, and they actually gave him, as a parting gift, their recorder. So the recorder that he uses is theirs.
Special.
So for the next few years, as he became a young man, whilst he was working, he was mucking out the cow sheds or whatever. He would often find himself sat atop the hay bales, just learning to play and learning and trying to write his own songs, but he didn't have any stories to tell.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
After a while, basically, he made the decision that he needed to leave. He wasn't, the farming life was not for him.
There was too many songs about counting sheep, and
this is it, So he left. Basically, he wanted to follow his dreams, make his own stories and songs about adventure, excitement, and of course, as every good bard does, of love.
Well,
so I think
magical.
I think part of him...
Love is stupid and everybody hates it.
Classic DM with the darkest timeline there.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, with part of him maybe hoping that perhaps... Because he never saw Ishtari again. He never saw these adventures again. So maybe part of him is hoping that they would be reunited and he could prove himself to them in some way. I know I keep on...
Bard,
yeah, exactly. So...
That's quite a sweet story. And so that was where his wanderlust grew. This desire to adventure has come from not only the want to be a famous musician, but also to gain the stories to go with it. So it's not just I want to tell the stories of others.
That was what I missed out. I did write this. So basically, as a parting gift, they gave Hummel their recorder and told him that next time they meet, he has to give them a song as payment for the recorder. So it's kind of like he's looking for destiny. Will they be reunited or not?
He's looking for the greatest song in the world. No, that song tribute.
Yeah, tribute.
Yeah, great, fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I kind of figure he probably hasn't been to a college. He's not a trained bard, but he hasn't been to a college. He just and in all fairness, when I wrote this, I just finished watching Witcher, so I think he's probably loosely based on the book. Yeah. So he probably is. This would be before the adventuring to get him to level 5. Yeah, he's probably found himself some other adventures, maybe even some bandits or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
sort of travels around with whoever's
around. Just kind of just all he wants is the story. He's like he's a reporter basically. Only he reports in music.
That. No, I like that as a good little thing. So it's like he's trying to be on the money, on the time with what's going on, and trying to keep people aware of the latest and greatest stories of heroes and adventures rather than the past. Like the College of Law in my mind is all all the oldie moldy stories, anything like that. And this was more like the heroic tales of today, not the heroic tales of the past in some respects.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Okay. So that gets him from like a level 1 or 2 character that's kind of shucks, I'm off to my adventure, let's go, sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we need to get this character to level 15 level ultimate fighting warrior that takes on the biggest bad in the world. I mean, it's very easy to realise how Hummel would end up there, because this is the biggest bad in the world. Why else? Where else is he going to get the best stories?
Exactly. Yeah.
But let's go back. So he leaves Hamilton.
Hamilton. Yeah, Hamilton.
He leaves Hamilton.
Yeah.
And then, so I've got 5 cards that I gave you that we can use. Now, we don't have to use all of these, but I've got 5 here. But I'm actually looking at them, and I'm not happy with them. So I'm going to give us 5 new ones. Okay.
Nice.
I'm going to just let's go
chaos.
On the fly.
We love it.
Let's just go chaotic. Let's bring a level of madness into this. So I'm just going to get these cards out. These are as I said before on the other shows, it's better backstories. So let's just make sure I've got rid of the jokers out of the pack, because there's jokers like infotech stuff there. Right, so let's just shuffle these up so we don't get it. Hopefully, we don't get the same as anyone else. Right, here we go. Right, first card I'm going to give you 5 of these is Runaway. Well, that works, doesn't it? Runaway. Well, he did that.
Yeah.
So we can keep
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. But we like to like make them happen a few times. Have these cards like come up again and again. So let's give that. Ooh.
Is there a murder one? Is
Death.
it murder?
He's got death. He's got death. You lost someone very close to you. So we'll figure out what that is. Let's add that into the backstory in this intervening time. Oh, we've had that one someone else. I'm going to find a new one. Sorry. Timing. Ooh, timing.
Okay. Too late for something, and that's why someone died.
Well, it says you were born at a strange time.
Okay.
Maybe I kind of like it more. I'm gonna again with all of these things, all these suggestions, Luke. I'm putting this out here now. You can throw them all back at me and say I hate it, and you don't have to take it. But I'm gonna put things at you. But what if its timing is like Hummel has this knack to always be in the right place at the right time.
At the right time. Yeah.
He just.
I will say he did pretty good with that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good.
the other side.
This one works as well. Legacy. You've taken on someone else's dream. So you've sort of taken on a mantle. I kind of like that. So you've taken on this mantle of this like bard, but also the legacy that you're leaving behind that you ran away from, which is Hamilton. Hamilton.
Rolls off the tongue.
Okay, I got this one and this one. Okay, fifth and final one. I think very much works. Offbeat. You have an interesting personality.
Well, that means I don't have to do much role playing. That's great.
I'm gonna step in here. Yeah. I'm gonna throw a little bit of the darkest timeline in there.
Yeah.
It means you cannot find the fucking beat to a song.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, that's it. So you are a bard, but you play really offbeat sort of music.
Everything is like 9/8 time.
Yeah, it's
like
wait, that's all right. I just blast out. I have to. Oh, see, now you're challenging me. I'm going to have to learn some tool on the recorder.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
15, yeah.
Some serious math.
Fibonacci sequence.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. So offbeat works so well. It's just like proper experimental jazz that you play.
Like a prog bard.
Yeah, exactly. You are prog. You are definitely you are the Rick Wakeman of bards. Yeah. I love it.
I like that. Yeah, I love that.
Cool. Oh, that's good.
That's fine.
Okay, cool. So we've got those. So we'll stick with the runaway. So you left home and you had this legacy. So that's it. We can stick with those ones. Timing it. So where would Hummel go first? So what's the nearest town? Do we have a town where this is going to be near? Have you got one in mind, like a city that you want to get to? Because I think you're going to find some adventurers. You're going to go straight for the nearest big city, right?
So my knowledge of the Faerun is mostly the Sword Coast, obviously. So I mean, you've got Water's Deep or Neverwinter. But part of me, just because it kind of would tie into my own podcast, is perhaps, I mean, I don't know what the year is in your world, but I'm assuming it's probably
it's the current. It's about 1476 or whenever it is in the.
This is it.
Yeah.
The current year is around 1490 something, I think, which is a couple of years ahead of my campaign. Okay. And in my campaign is Lost Mines of Phandelver. So Neverwinter is still recovering from the cataclysm, and Phandelver is still this up and coming small town. But you're ahead of that. So by this point, Phandelver is now a bustling town filled with miners because they found the lost mine and a bustling, so it's a perfect place. He's made his way there because that's the happening place on the Sword Coast at the moment where all the adventures are found, because also you've got Icespire Peak not far from there as well. So it's like this is the place where all the adventure is happening.
How about this? How about this one? He turns up and is part of Icespire Peak.
Mm-hmm.
Because is that after Lost Mines of Fandelver?
After Lost Mines, yeah.
So what if he turns up to Lost Mines, or is it so? I don't know. I've not played either of these actually, so you're gonna have to help me out a bit. Are they immediately after one another, or is it much later?
I think it's maybe like a few years. I think
Okay.
technically.
Well, then let's go with that. So maybe Hummel makes his way to makes his very merry way. I imagine though.
Oh,
he's
you
not-
guys are talking about happy things, and I'm not into it. I'm fucking leaving.
You're leaving.
This is the sunshine.
He's gonna, we'll get to the death
want
card
no-
at some
Rainbows.
point.
I don't want no
We'll get to the
goddamn
death
part of this. This is insanity. There is-
Hey, wait, Kyle. The benefit,
Yes.
the way to make a good horrible story is start it off so everyone's having a happy day, and then ruin it. That's the best way, right?
No.
Oh, you just
The
ruin it from
best
the
way to
start.
do it is to start off with something that is tragic and show them that they have worked through this. They are overcoming this problem. They have learned everything that they need to. They have done it.
Yeah.
And then they fail. That is how you tell
That's
a
how you
dark
do it.
story.
That is true. Yeah, take them through hell and then let them fail at the end of it. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
I tried so hard. Did you really? Not hard enough.
Doesn't
Fuck
matter.
off.
Doesn't matter. Bye. Well, with that
Well-
beautiful sentiment, Kyle, why don't we let
Yeah,
you go
I'm leaving.
back to your
You
back
go to
to
hell.
your
You go to hell.
your dungeon.
I'll see you fail in hell. That's what I'll see.
All right. See you later, Kyle. Much
See you later,
appreciated
dude.
to have you here, though. See ya. Take care.
I thought you'd stitched me up when I saw him join. I was like, you've done me.
That was seriously. That was not on purpose. That is just the magic of being in Discord and giving people access. So
yeah.
there you go. But so we've got these cards. Okay, so how about this then? You've gone to Fandelver straight after the mining issue. They found the lost mine. They're building up a few years later. Hummel goes, "Yeah, this is the new place." I imagine on the way there, I'm going to say Hummel toe slightly naive. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm going to say that he's probably gets there's going to be, let's say, some sort of like loses all his stuff or something along those lines, gets beaten up or something like that on the way,
Yep,
you know,
yep.
a bit of like trusting the wrong person or maybe something like that, I can imagine, but somehow manages to get over it, feels like, oh, this is my first story, you know?
Yeah.
This is my first story, gets to Fandelver, and then, so what, do you know the story of I Spy a Peak? I don't know it well enough.
I don't know it, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Well, I'm going to make it up. No,
There's
let's...
something to do with dragon, I think.
The dragon, yeah. Okay, there's a...
Okay.
What's the overview? Here's the overview. Like, I'm going to read it very quickly. I will cut this bit out whilst I read it. Okay, I had a quick read of it. So, the town is actually Phandalin. Fandelver's the mine, but Phandalin
course,
is the town.
yeah.
That's it. So so you go to Phandalin, and I'm going to say your first adventure is I Spy a Peak. So you kind of go there, you start doing some music, you see, I'm going to use this timing thing, you literally get there just as the dragon roars and the orcs come down from the mountain, and it's like, we need great adventurers, and you're like, I'm coming, sort of thing. I don't know why he sounds like Mickey Mouse, but I'm going to go with that for now.
I don't know. I had images of Scrappy Doo actually.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Scrap
Let me at him! Let me at him! Let me at him! Let me at him!
you do. Yeah, there we go. And he runs up and he gets joined up as a level 1 character and makes his way to, like, this is his level 1 to level 6 sort of storyline, is defeating the dragon. He defeats the dragon and becomes a dragon slayer. I'm going to say that Hummel toe is like the dragon slayer, and that gives him
That works well with my choice of magic items that
there you
you
go.
allowed us to choose.
Oh, good. Well, that works good. And that maybe sets Hummel up on the sort of like, this is this timing thing. You're just there at the right time. I even imagine that maybe your offbeat nature confuses the dragon, so you're like dancing around in a sort of offbeat jazz dance. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I say he's blasting out Lateralis or something, and everyone's trying to work out how the hell you dance to this time signature.
Exactly. Is this vicious mockery or is this music? And then you defeat you get the killing blow on the dragon is called Cryovane. So you're called like, you come back down from the mountain, maybe only like one or two of your, like only one, maybe you lose, maybe this is the death. I'm going to pull the death card. You lose a character, you lose a member of your team.
Yeah, I mean,
do you fancy that?
Everything so far, but I think that death, it should be more tragic. I think it should
I'm
have
going
a
to
bigger
bring it
impact.
back again.
Yeah.
We're going to use these. Oh, we'll save it. Okay, we'll save it.
Yeah.
All right,
it
we'll
should
save
be
it.
someone that he really cares about rather than just a throwaway that we've not even made a name for.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's just... Okay, so this is a simple first adventure. You didn't really know them, but you made some friends along the way. Yeah?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, sure.
so what would Hummel do next? He's gained this Dragon Slayer title. He's done Phandalin now, right? Or is he still going to stay in Phandalin? He's like, yeah, that's it now. On to the next thing.
Yeah, it's a massive world, isn't it? Where does he go next,
Okay.
It's a good question.
Do you want me to...
Where does he go next?
Do you want me to roll for it? Or do you want me to... Do you have one in mind?
Again, I imagine he'd probably just make his way up and down the Sword Coast, adventuring. There's so much going on there.
Well, let's just say
from
that. It's
the
just...
dragons, the giants.
Yeah.
He just wanders around.
Maybe
he just attaches himself to some merchants. Hey, where's this? Sometimes they're boring, sometimes they're not.
Okay, what I'm gonna. This is where I'm gonna have you and one other character overlap. Now I'm gonna put this in because now I've actually heard everyone's. I can do this, and I feel that you're the best placed person to do that in some respects because very traveling nature. Like for example, like Guillermo's character spent most of his life in a dread domain, and then ended up in Sigil, and then obviously Carrie, which. People would have heard, but you haven't heard yet. But Carrie spent most of her upbringing, secluded in a small gnomish village, being kept safe from something that took away her parents, her real parents, and then Frankie's been very much dealing with their rise to the top of Luskan, which is the only person I think you would come across. Is
Probably.
Frankie?
He would go up to Luskan. Yeah, again, he would after doing that.
Yeah.
There's dodgy stuff going up there.
I feel at some point, as you become a famed bard, that I feel that at some point, because she's like Frankie's the head of one of the high captains. By the time they get to the point, I think Hummel has performed once he's at his peak. Once he's at the peak that we'll find later. But I feel that would make sense. That you will at least know of Frankie, at the fact that she's like a high captain and like super powerful crime lord. Mm-hmm. But also, you would have performed for her as part of her entertainment on one of the parties or something like that, I imagine.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I quite like the idea, coming back to what you said about using the fact that, I Spy Peak was his kind of first thing. And how he's just always in the right place.
Yeah.
How, all of if you were to imagine that all of the official kind of pre-released adventure modules, if somehow he's been at all,
I want to say that is canon. I am up for saying that canonically, by the time he's level 15, he's played all the major. He's done all the main campaigns.
All of them. He was there somewhere along. Maybe not like as a main character. He was there for Dragon Heist.
What I want to do is I want someone to Photoshop Hummel's picture that's on screen right now into every single front cover of a D&D adventure. Just Hummel in the background, photo bombing everything. That is perfect. He was there when they killed Strahd. He fell into it. I loved. Okay, right. Let's choose 3 adventures. So I want to stick with Strahd, but choose 2 other adventures that you want to put in there that you kind of.
I would say the ones that I'm familiar with
go on,
would be Dragon Heist.
Yeah,
and,
I'm familiar with that as well. That's good.
The Tyranny of Dragons, which is a two-part adventure. Yeah,
perfect.
I'm familiar with that as well.
Okay, so let's say those are the 3 that we can talk about. But everything you think of, if you've ever played a dungeon campaign, Hummelto turned up at some point, by the way, and he actually did it. And he always gets the killing blow, just because his turn initiative is always the turn that gets the killing blow, pretty much most of the time, like to a certain extent, because I can't make that happen. Actually, I'm gonna do this now. I think I will talk to the players and see if everyone's happy with this. But no matter what battle we have, no matter whoever does the killing blow, technically Hummel does the kill. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he's the one that tells the story afterwards. He's the one going back to the town and writing the story.
To everyone else's knowledge, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I kind of like the fact that it would be like, say someone does a divine smite, is that they try and hit. They do the divine smite, but you empower it somehow, or actually it's because that gets them to 1 hit point, but they trip over your foot and then they die, and or something stupid like that, or you.
It's highly amusing, and I think it would work perfect for your show. But if you could imagine any other game, it would just
really annoy everyone.
Piss everybody
I think
off.
I'm going to make this going to be stupid things like Strahd. Like maybe Strahd is like they're in the battle and Hamilton's just like thinking like run out of spells and like accidentally knocks over a bookshelf which splinters and then a stake goes through his heart and it's just like, oh, whoops.
Well, yeah.
Or something like
Again,
that.
that works quite well. I've been umming and ahhing. So level 4, I went for a feat rather than the ASI.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the lucky feat as well.
Yeah.
So
I think you should take luck. I think you need to take the lucky feat. He's a halfling though. He's got luck anyway.
Exactly. So it's just more luck.
But that's why I think it works. This sort of like this timing always being in the right place at the right time. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. I think that's so good. Okay, so I know Dragon Heist pretty well. I've not played. I've read Tyranny of Dragons because I was going to play it after I did Dragon Heist. But yeah, let's say you were who did you run it or did you play it?
So I was gonna. I started running it and never finished it. So yeah.
Did you know what baddies you were going to use? Because I used all of them. Because
I was also going to use all of them.
Okay,
I was going to use. Is it Justin Alexander? And
Yeah.
There's a blog online, and he's got the remixed.
Yeah, he does
Dragon
actually.
Yeah, and I was going to pull from that.
Cool.
So, and of course, then you've got what's his name? The Gylaxel, of course, who he's like the boss of Luskan, as well. So
I feel that let's tie that in a bit. I think. How about then the faction that you join? Because you can join a faction in Waterdeep Dragon Heist. How about you tagged along with Bregan Darth then with Jarlaxle's crew with the Drows,
which would be a great honor as well, of course, because they're a Drow group. You can't typically don't let anyone join them unless they're Drow.
I've always played Jarlaxle as much more loose with that term, to be honest, because I always think he's a much more I've always played him when I played because in my character I use the Forgotten Tales supplement, which is by I think I forget. I don't want to say the wrong name. Mm-hmm. Yes, they both wrote this, but I really enjoyed it. If anyone's running Waterdeep Dragon Heist, I recommend reading it because it does a different intro sequence where the Castellantas are more of the baddies, and it's about the Bregan Darth. You go into like one of the walking statues of Waterdeep is one of the like adventure hooks. It's quite a fun one actually, and and it has a different way of doing the fireball, and it actually has a funky vault where the vault is like actually a bank that you can heist. Like a proper heist, so it's actually quite cool. But anyway, so I use that. But yeah, you can have it so Bregan Darth is like the main bit at the beginning, and they're trying to you kind of catch up with Felcrek and the sort of second right hand man of Jarlaxle. So I kind of okay, cool. So you do that, you get the. So how would you finish? I say okay, Dragon Heist. Spoilers for anyone playing Dragon Heist. So just. If you don't want to know what happens at the end, you get to the vault.
Skip ahead a couple of minutes.
Skip ahead a couple of minutes. But you get into the vault, you get the monies. What do you do with the monies? What would Hamilton do once he's got those? Once he's in front of all that gold?
So I mean, he's neutral, so he wouldn't have any qualms, I don't think, with the people he was with pocketing it. Yeah. He also wouldn't care necessarily about handing it back into the city. Yeah. So I think he would probably go with the flow. He's there for the experience. He's there for the stories that he can tell.
Just a bit of cash to go on his way, sort of thing. Just as a bit of
exactly.
All right, okay, I like that.
There for the thrill,
Yeah, exactly. It's just an adrenaline junkie in some respects, but just Okay, so right, this is perfect. So then let's say Jarlaxle gets the money. Jarlaxle gets the money and takes it to get himself into because he uses it to get himself leverage on the Lords of Waterdeep, doesn't he? And the Secret Lords. So that's kind of make a deal with Luskan, which might cause some tension for Frankie, but that's fine. And then you get a bit of cash. Some of it maybe goes back into the city because I think Jarlaxle's happy to does that as well because it kind of ends up back. Doesn't he?
He wants to be recognised as the part of the Lord's Alliance or something, doesn't
That's
he?
what it is, yeah. So I think he gives it back to the city in order to become recognised. So I'm going to say that's what happens. Even if that's not what happens, I was saying Jarlaxle gets the money and then uses it to give back to Waterdeep to then make him a part of the Lord's Alliance and then one of the rulers of Luskan. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, and so that's Hummel. So Hummel's done that, and then
there's not much else official modules that I am familiar with. I've not read it yet, but I do have the Icewind Dale one on my shelf.
Yeah, okay.
That came out a couple of years back.
Rime of the Frost Maiden. Yeah, okay.
That's the one. Yeah.
All
I've
right.
got that, but I've not read it.
I'm gonna. Oh, can I choose another? Can I choose another one though for you? Is that all right? I'm sorry. I'm gonna choose
go for
one
it.
because I think it could work with the story. Is that you've done Descent into Avernus?
I don't know it, but yeah, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Because the only reason I'm going to say that is because I think that could be like, this is your progression. Then is you've gone Ice Peak, then you've gone Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and then you've gone Descent in Avernus, basically, and then that will be where you end up. That will then get you planescaping. That's all I'm getting at, because then you will end up in Sigil. I'm going to say in a minute. I think, right? So, without giving too much away about it, but so you had a bit of a hard time down in Avernus. Now let's go back. Let's go back from before we go back into Avernus, because I want to use the death card there, because I think that's the place where you'd use a death card.
Okay.
Would Hummel always be on his own on these adventures? Is he just going to, like, once one job's done, he's done with those people? Or would he meet a new friend along the way?
I kind of think of it as like a group of what's the film? I'm thinking Suicide Squad, but without the kind of government attachment to it. You know, so different adventurers will get together for different quests, you know, in different missions, and so sometimes he'll go and join in, and you know.
He becomes one of the Avengers, basically. Is what you're saying.
Basically, I'm thinking, rubbish. What's this Stallone film when with all the action stars in it when they all get together? Expendables. Yeah. So like they're the Expendables of Faerun. You know, so all of the different adventurers get through and they get called and they get like a secret message to be able to this is going down, go there. But yeah, I think he doesn't have his group. But he's present in lots of groups.
Yeah, he's the person that they get added to every super group basically.
Yeah.
But Crosby, Stills and Nash, or the Travelling Wilburys, or something like that.
As you said, like right place at the right time. It's just that lucky coming in. Like whenever he stops somewhere, he's like, "Well, that's done. I need a rest now."
He's the Agatha Christie. He's the Agatha Christie of bards. He just turns up.
The Poirot. Just no matter where he goes. Yeah, the Murder She Wrote, isn't it? Where every time he turns up, a murder happens.
Someone dies.
I mean, if a murder was committed, where is the body?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right, here we go. Yeah.
Hummeltoe's coming to town. Fuck. Run away. But at the same time, I also like the idea. So I'm going to say, like, after Fandelver, you get known as the Dragon Slayer, right? The Dragon Slayer and the savior of Ice Peak, Spire. And then maybe you use that up. You get yourself into the Sword Coast and you travel around and you do your gigs, right? You do gigs and you speak of all the tales. You then end up doing all these other adventures. You do the whole Waterdeep Dragon Heist thing. You do a big big band thing or at the Yawning Portal or something like that one night afterwards. And the revelry is just everyone's loving it. And that then skyrockets you from this whispered name to like major talent. I'm gonna say maybe you have like you get good mates with John Axel, so he like sets you up with like gigs. You know, like he's giving you like he's helping you become more infamous and stuff like that, and sets you up at like little and you get like bigger stadiums. I'm gonna say Hummel hits like stadium level.
Nice.
Yeah, there we go. Solo act though, do you think still, or with bands, or just like or he just turns up and just like does like it gets people just come and session with him sort of thing? Is that kind of what it would be? Or
I mean, it would have started off as the playing for your keep, wouldn't it? I suppose. So yeah, again, it's very much he doesn't have a travelling band with him. He's on his own. Definitely.
But
so
he
maybe
turns up
he'll play up with the house band. I'm like, but he doesn't book gigs. It's all just luck. He just wants. I think originally when it started off, that was kind of like he wanted to be an adventurer. He didn't want to be a bard.
No.
He wanted to be an adventurer and tell, to experience the stories and then, make the songs. So and as we say, like nobody really gets his music. So perhaps like because he's famous, people want to hear his tales, but they necessarily really actually like his music.
Yes. So he doesn't realise that though. How about that? He's kind
Yeah.
of naive to it. He thinks that they think his music is amazing, but actually
Yes.
it's so offbeat and esoteric. People are like, what? But the stories are so good.
Like,
They're sort of
it's like slam poetry. Everyone's
Yeah.
just a little bit like, that's a bit weird. But the actual tale that he's weaving
Yeah.
is what people like to listen to. It's more poetry than music, I
Yeah.
suppose. You know.
and maybe the sort of a spell effect and the bardic effect sort of overcomes them. So you're set, yeah. So when you turn up, maybe it's that you don't sell out gigs, you just turn up in town, and then suddenly you end up at a bar. Next minute, thousands of people are there, and next minute it has to move out into the street because there's too many of you. And then like someone goes, "Oh, we'll just set up a stage because Hummeltoe's coming to town," you know, like, and they'll do something like that maybe once or twice, but.
Perhaps. Yeah. I'm not too sure. I don't think I
don't
like
like
the
that?
idea of him being a big musician.
Okay.
As I say. I think.
All right, fine.
It'll be more. It's more about the. So that they're more campfire songs that he writes, typical
Okay.
like traditional bard style stuff. But like as I say, it's the stories. Everyone knows that he's a famous adventurer.
Yeah.
But he. So rather than
All right.
people want to hear his stories, but he tells them in a way that they're poetic and
Lyrical.
musical.
Yeah.
Lyrical. Yeah.
Okay, right. All right, so maybe it is then, if you play, it's like, oh my gosh, I got to see Hummeltoe. Like, can you believe it? I actually was there when he was there, sort of thing. And you just turn
Yeah.
up, and gives you a bit more of a... Okay, so less famous and more infamous, then. We'll stick with that, then. So more like just this name that everyone knows, and if they're lucky to see you, they're lucky to see you, sort of
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to say, then, at some point before you go to Avernus, you're going to meet Ishtari again, right?
Sure.
Because you've now hit the big time. You've saved water. You've beaten off all the baddies in Dragon Heist, and you've been sort of lauded and like Jarl Axel and the Lariel Silverhand sort of graces you because you were one of the people that gave the money back from Dagolt Neverember who'd stolen it. So because Lariel will play it, not that Luskan that Jarl Axel's paid his way in. She'll just pay it that, oh, my adventurers found this and gave me the money back for the city. And so you're sort of lauded around as like one of the saviors of this cash and giving Waterdeep back its taxes. That then you would at some point come across. So how do you think they would approach? Would it be your just luck again?
I think it would be just luck. I think he hopes that they would meet again, but it's not like he's really been looking for her.
Yeah.
You know, or them. I keep on
Do you
saying
think...
her. It is a them. I wrote them to be a them. But like you say, if we're going to end the story at Avernus, and I'd already kind of figured that this was going to be your suggestion, Ishtari will be the big death. It's got to be.
It feels like it has to be, right?
It has to be. It has to be.
really
As soon as you
does.
drew that card, it's like it has to be.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And as I
Well,
said,
was-
it's kind of the idea of adventurers being called to do different missions. Perhaps he just happens to be placed together with Ishtari to go and do Avernus.
Well, I'm going to give you. Can I give you a slightly alternate suggestion to that to put you off the scent? How about you meet up with Ishtari one night, and it's like in the middle of nowhere. Okay, you are traveling between cities. You're on your own. You've got maybe a horse. I don't know, but you've got your wagon. You're just walking along the road. You set up. You see a campfire off the side of the road, and you hear this music, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I've not heard this sound. That's the voice." And you just like rush into the woods, and you find the traveling band with Ishtari and their retinue. And you have this wonderful night of regaling them with you have tales to tell, and it's just drinks, and it's so much fun, and it's just like you're where you were meant to be. Like, this was the time that you were meant to meet them. They're on their way to Baldur's Gate. You're on your way back south, let's say, up to between Luskan and Baldur's Gate. So you're going up to Luskan. They're going down to Baldur's Gate. And you see that, and it's one of those, like, you wake up in the morning, they're already gone. They've already gone. Yeah. You haven't even said goodbye. You just woke up and you're hungover. You've had the best night of your life, just like chatting crap and like really, reveling. And it's kind of perfect. Until, and I'm going to change the story of Avernus slightly, but basically, let's say, because there's a bit of weird. I don't want to break that story for everyone, but I'm going to use Avernus as a thing. But you've heard of Astari, like you've heard them being talked about by people, famous. They're equally as famous a bard, let's say, like talked about. They then disappear. After that night, they never make it to Baldur's Gate. They never make it there. And you find this out, like, because you think, oh, I want to, maybe you're like, oh, I forgot, I've still got the like, I didn't, I've got something of theirs. They left something behind or something like that. Maybe like another instrument or something. I don't know, your choice. Maybe some bagpipes. I don't know.
What about a headband?
Okay. All right. And then you think you want to get this back to them somehow. You ask your mate Jarl Axel, where's Istari? And you find out they've not been seen since. And they never made it to a thing. So you go on this, your adventure then leads you down this rabbit warren of where have they gone? This becomes like a bit too much of an obsession for you, maybe.
Yeah.
Because you had that such magical night and it felt so perfect, but you weren't ready to let it go. And there's got to be a story here as well. That bit of you is like, well, there's got to be something going on. And I owe it to them. They gave me this life. So you then go on your merry way to find your merry way. It's going to be your way that you move at all times, merry. And then that leads you on this dangerous adventure that figures out that they've somehow gained their magical powers, or they have some sort of like, or somehow they have some sort of like ownership from Asmodeus, right? Or they've been taken, like a time limit has come on what they're owed. I'm thinking of tribute now, like the tribute,
yeah.
Play me the greatest song in the world sort of thing is going to happen here. So like a devil comes out, has gifted them like this power, and it's time for the debt to be collected, and they get taken back, and you go on this you get some of your great and mighty warriors that you ask some of the Jarl Axel's Bregan Darth crew, you get some people, and you head off in through the portal in Baldur's Gate, or wherever the I think it is, down and you into Avernus, and you trying to search for them. Now I'm going to leave it up to what happens then. What do you think would happen? Like, what would go on?
I don't know.
I've spoken
first
too
of all,
much.
When you were going through the midnight kind of mating them and stuff, like, I'm not going to lie, I had shivers and goosebumps. I loved it.
Oh, great!
I loved it. I was there in Hummel's shoes.
Oh, good. Glad.
So what? See, again, I don't know anything about Avernus or the planes.
It's pretty shit, and it's like hell.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, that's what I know. I know there's 9 levels, and then you said about meeting Tiamat, and Tiamat's the first level.
Yeah, which is so Avernus is the first level. So it's Bator is the overarching name, and then Avernus is the first layer, and then Stiga. Oh my gosh, I don't know the Stiga, and there's Nessus. Nessus is the last layer. I know that.
Honestly, no idea at all.
Well, let's leave it on. We'll leave it on the top plane. Let's leave it simple for now. But you got there are cities. They're pretty bad places. They go to them in Critical Role. Episode 1, they go to hell, I think.
Let's not talk Critical Role. I'll get myself in trouble, and then I'll never get on season 6. Yeah, so what happens? I mean, as I say, I think there's got to be that tragedy there. Like Carl said right early on, there's got to be the tragedy there. That Death Card's got to play.
Got to play hard.
Play it there somewhere. But what if like you say, if they were owed, what if actually they weren't a good adventuring group the whole time? What if they were actually the antithesis of this? So
yes.
He's got this romantic ideal in his head that these were great, brave adventurers, and he's been looking, kind of half-heartedly looking for them and idolising them, and they're the reason that he is who he is. But what if actually they're
evil?
Evil.
Yes. Okay. And can I chuck something in?
Go on.
Your flute. The reason you're so lucky, your recorder, gave you this sort of luck of the devil's luck sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of tainted by the sort of powers that gave them all their things.
Yeah.
Okay. How about that?
Okay. I like that. Yeah.
maybe there's more to it that I'll keep hidden still.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So what if the death card then? What if that is that it's actually him that actually has to then confront Ishtari's group, and it's actually him that has to kill the woman that he's loved his whole life.
Okay, I love that, and I got an idea. So I'm going to use a little bit of the Avernus storyline. So again, it's a bit of spoilers, but not too much, because it happens in Hells all the time. Let's say that she is not. They are beholden to like another, not Asmodeus. Let's say like Mephistopheles or something like that, or let's just say another devil, like quite high up devil, who's plotting against Asmodeus, right? Mm-hmm. And they've got in league with Tiamat, right? To use, because Tiamat's under some sort of like contractual relationship. It's not actually known. I've never find the reason why, because it's actually in the books. It even says like no one actually knows why he like has dominion over Tiamat, Asmodeus. But maybe this other devil, they've had a chance to figure out a way to undo their bonds or something, and is trying to use that, has called now back the debt from Ishtari, brought them to Avernus to help fight with them in their army against Asmo. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You go down to Hell, and you're trying to find out what the using a Planescape term, the chant is, the sort of like what the story is, what the tale is. You, with your luck, you just end up sort of like when you portal through, you're just falling around into like finding out exactly what's going on. You know exactly what's going on. And the next minute, Asmodeus just turns up riding a nightmare and goes, you, I need you. And you get, Asmodeus basically says, you've got something there that's highly, highly, highly dangerous in your hand that you don't quite aware of. I will remove the curse that it holds over you, because now the minute you start playing this thing, it slowly depletes your soul until you are like ruined or something like that, and you've not been aware of it, you know, like slowly. And that's why you play all these offbeat music, because it's like all these crazy, you play backwards tunes or something like that, you know, and it's all like playing Led Zeppelin backwards or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's why it's kind of freaky, right? I don't know. I'm spitballing here.
Yep. Sounds good.
You then get recruited by Asmodeus for the chance to redeem your soul if you will help find and kill Ishtari.
Yeah, but he doesn't know it's Ishtari.
No.
Until the face down.
Yes, okay, fine. You don't know where it is. You just need to. You've kind of got yourself there. Maybe you got yourself in a bit of trouble, but it's kind of like snowballed into a way that you end up in Asmodeus's gaze, and he gets you to say you have to do this, and or maybe even spins it that it will save your friends. Like this will save your friends, and you don't realize until it's the fight, and then you think like, I can't fight these people, and then they attack you.
Yeah.
Like an ultimate betrayal.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Love it.
And then you have to kill them and slay them, and you then, the curse of this thing, maybe you're now not offbeat anymore. Maybe your music could be less offbeat if you want to, or not, or it sticks like that. But I'm going to say you've got a relationship with Asmodeus. Okay? Yeah? If you're up for that, let's say.
Yeah, well, because you know, once you make a deal with the devil, it's never truly paid off, is it?
Well, let's see how that contract works out. I'll work out something. Okay. We'll see what's what. I think we'll see what.
That's fine by me. As again, like, cause
if you're happy with it, like again,
was it true? Is it true neutral? I pulled. Yeah. Like, I think it was. Yeah,
lawful neutral. Yeah,
lawful neutral. The most boring of the of the alignments. So let's mix it up. Put some more excitement in there. Absolutely.
Well, let's say that the neutrality only purely comes from the fact that you're actually good, but you're sort of tainted by this sort of inner darkness that you're not maybe, and you're not. It comes across as good because you're just in the right place at the right time. But has it all led to this? Is it all Asmo's machinations destiny, just to make sure that you end up where you needed to be for his machinations? Yeah. He's the long game player. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love it.
Okay. Then you go from there. You're like, well, where do I go? He sets you off on the River Styx. Says, make your way to Sigil, and I will call on you again if I so need, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
I want someone you're going to be our tricky one. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're
that's
up for
good
it.
because I would love it because I don't like playing evil characters, but I like playing evil characters. So we're going to have a natural inner moral kind of turmoil.
Yes.
If you ever so choose to pull on that thread, then
I'm not going to say that you
it's
are.
going to be a case of
exactly.
I don't want to do it, but kind of have to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's more that you're not evil, you're a good character, but you've got this hold over you, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, more to the point. That may, at some point, call on you again. I want to keep a bit of it, I'm happy with it's a bit looser with everyone, because we've got the idea and they've got the general gist, but we can figure out some of the technicalities behind the scenes as well.
Sure.
Of how that actually works, because I think it's a bit loosey-goosey in Avernus, like, he just ends up with Asmo, but I'm happy with that just to be like, we'll figure out how that is and what that deal is and how that really works with Ishtar.
Yeah, but it's a nice idea of like, has Asmodeus been playing the long game since the beginning, because he does just always end up in the right places, you know? And so when he goes into Avernus and wherever, it is a bit strange. He just randomly ends up in the right place that he needs to be at the right time.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then he sends you. So then I think you end up in Sigil. You then are, once you get there, whilst you've been in Avernus, let's say like it's quite a while. That's when this dragon rain kicks off. This Caraptis bastard does his like evil wizard stuff. That's when you realise that maybe they're related to that. Maybe Ishtari and this other demon were like part of that machinations as well. You're not sure. And maybe this is long game of Asmodeus. Maybe he says to you something along the line, "There's your time's not up. I still need you to do something because something more worse than I is coming this way," or something like that. He maybe even warns you of something, but you won't know what it is, and you see it as Caraptis. Yeah. Maybe it's not Caraptis, maybe it's something even worse than Caraptis. But yes, and then you fall into like, you meet, then maybe you like catch up with Guillermo because he's in Sigil. He says, I'm going to fight this Caraptis person. You go, yeah, I'm going with you. And then you go off and you fight Caraptis. Yep. And that's
that works as well because he wants a way, as another adventure I can follow because he's always following other adventurers. He's never the main character of the story. He's just there, you know. So,
but maybe he is the main character.
Maybe
in the
he
story.
is.
Okay.
My ego's big enough as it is. Don't make me the main character.
Okay, well that is
cool.
fantastic.
I love it.
That is fantastic. Okay, cool. Well, people will see next week that I play Hamilton because, which is fine. And I'm going to play. And just to clarify, everyone, we're all phasing. There's all different variations that are going to happen because of this multiversal split. So that's a thing that might happen in the show. Generally, I'm having this feeling that maybe some other people might like be played by other people at some times, just because it's like another alternate version of themselves that's actually like come into play whilst the planes are all being fucked up. So that might happen to other people. It won't always be me, but if I can get... Because I want this to be a very guest-heavy sort of campaign as much as it can. And, like, to a certain extent. So, yeah, but we will see you in 2 weeks' time as Hummel, because you will be phasing back in after our basically silly romp, which doesn't really mean much. But it makes more sense why I had got my harmonica out and had to breathe in and out to play weird, crazy, offbeat music to some beholders. Spoiler alert. So, that makes sense. But, yes... We'll catch you in a couple of weeks' time. So thank you very much, Luke, for being on here and talking to me about Hamilton. I hope you feel happy with where we're at.
I love it, actually. Yeah. I couldn't have done it better if I'd done it all on my own at all. So it was nice bouncing ideas around.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, it's
have a good night.
Yeah, you too. And and everyone can find you at Duderrooney on Twitter. Is there anything else? Anywhere else?
At Duderrooney. Keep an eye on the at. What is it? CFT Chronicles. New podcast coming soon. Possibly at Show D&D, Dice and Die. Fingers crossed. Is there's stuff happening soon?
Awesome. And
So-
awesome. And then I just need to thank D&D Beyond for supporting our show. I need to thank everyone out there who's part of this show for doing all their help and amazing stuff. And thanks to everyone who's watching and we were all listening. And